Welcome to Safe and Secure, where we discuss the problems and solutions that make up the systems integration world. Each week, we'll feature industry leaders and experts to discuss the obstacles and challenges in our industry with your host, Kevin Wren. So, let's dive in.
How's it going, Kevin? Good to see you. I'm so happy that you're able to join us today.
Thanks, Kevin. It's going good. Thanks for asking. How about with yourself?
Yeah, things are great. We're rock and rolling. Looks like kids are going to start getting back into school full time shortly. So exciting times to be back in the K-12 world. Absolutely.
No doubt.
Hey, Kevin, tell us a little bit about yourself and Audio Enhancement, what you guys do.
Sure. So my name is Kevin Mitchell. I've been with the company almost 12 years now. I'm the vice president of sales for the company. I started as a junior associate. I lived in South Florida. I took over a small territory in South Florida and then moved my family up to Georgia. And ever since then, we've been growing with the company and just growing as a family and trying to make it in the world. But Audio Enhancement's been an unbelievable company to work for. It was started by a mother, and she had 2 deaf boys, and her goal was just to figure out a solution for them to not be in the special ed environment and to be able to grow up at the same pace of learning as anybody else or any other child. So she created an audio system for classrooms. And when she did, it wasn't just the deaf children that benefited. All kids could hear better and therefore learn better. And since the pandemic, I'll fast forward a little bit, but we've really almost doubled in size simply because teachers returned to the classroom wearing masks. And it was pretty obvious that masks impeded the ability for kids to hear. So we've had an amazing year, a busy year, a trying year with students not being in the classroom. So we've evolved the company and continue to grow, but that's it's been a interesting road.
Yeah. So you talked about the pandemic and the hurdles that these schools are having to jump through, and I mean, more power to them. I don't know how they're doing what they're doing on a daily basis, but tell me a little bit about how you guys as a company and you are helping schools around this mask and mandate and distance learning and those kind of things.
Yeah, I'll tell you the interesting story. It's funny, but back in March, when this all came about, we had a couple of the districts we worked with, superintendents, come to us and say, what is this system going to work like or look like when my teachers return wearing masks? And to be honest with you guys, we didn't know. We went out to schools and we took a mask and we thought we were going to have to build a mask that had a microphone built into it. If you've ever heard of a TEF analyzer, it measures the decibel level of a classroom. So we went out to a classroom and we decided that we were just going to spend those couple of weeks where we couldn't see customers trying to figure out the true data behind coming back wearing a mask. And as we thought, a teacher going from wearing no mask to wearing a mask severely impacted the ability or the intelligibility of a word for students to hear. So we then did a third test with the microphone on. And not only was it better than no microphone, but it was better than a teacher with a microphone without a mask. So it really blew us away. The mask actually helped the quality of the audio because it muffled, or it served as like a screen over the microphone that helped to get rid of the air sounds of the words. So it's been interesting, but the districts that had it are super grateful. When they had kids come back, the teachers could talk at their normal tone of voice and kids could hear them. The schools that haven't had it have been beating down our door. And to be candid, again, it's been tough to just keep inventory on the shelves at the time.
So Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong, but so your system, you wear a microphone. We have all these kids in plexiglass. We have the mask. So, the W's, the Wrens are sitting all in the back of the classroom and just really struggling to hear because that voice is being projected out, right? But your system has the ceiling microphones, correct? Or speakers, I should say.
That's exactly right. Yeah, and the most common misconception with an audio system is that we're putting a microphone on a teacher in order to make him or her louder. And it's truly not the case. Our job is to actually get the teacher to talk at a lower tone of voice and then use those speakers that are distributed throughout the classroom to evenly spread the voice throughout all students so that every child feels as though they're standing right next to the teacher. Obviously, if you were having a one-on-one conversation, you wouldn't use your teacher voice or project your voice. You would just talk at a normal tone of voice. And that's what we're trying to accomplish in a large classroom environment.
Gotcha. And obviously that that's huge in those kids that are, physically in the classroom on a day-to-day basis. But like, we've got these A-day, B-day, hybrid, virtual, all those kind of things. What kind of solutions or how are you helping those kids that are at home?
It was so funny when we walked into a few classrooms when this pandemic struck, we saw teachers that were tethered to their laptop, and we asked them why. And they said, well, if 8 kids that are in my room, I'm also trying to teach 8 kids or 12 kids that are sitting at home. And they were tethered to the laptop because they were wanting to look at the students through the webcam, and they were wanting the computer audio to pick up the teacher's audio. So we quickly figured out we could solve at least one of those solutions, but really both of those solutions with products that we already had. So first off, the audio system, every system we've ever built already has an audio output. So the teachers are able to use the microphone system around their neck. When they're talking, the amplifier is giving that output of voice to the input of the computer, and you can select that as your audio source within Zoom or Teams or whatever streaming platform or WebEx platform they were using. The video side, about 12 years ago, we were approached by a couple of security directors around the country. And at the time, we had just developed a panic button into our microphone, and they were requesting a camera in the classroom for the purpose of safety and security. Well, we did that, and we built a camera that was there for safety and security. But what we quickly found out was teachers wanted to use it to record themselves teach, either for national board certification or to just be able to go through and get coaching and instruction and grow in their practice from watching themselves or watching game film. So we created a camera about 12 years ago, but when the pandemic happened, every teacher that had a camera in their room said, I want to be able to live stream this camera. I want to be able to use that camera rather than the laptop camera or the small webcam that was on top of my panel in the front of the room. They wanted to use the camera that was ceiling mounted that had a fixed view of the front of the room, stream that home to students, and then use the audio from the microphone to get that quality audio home to the kids. And honestly, it was almost seamless as a company how quickly we were able to transition to suit the need for the people in the pandemic.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. And like you said, it was solutions that you already had in place pre-coronavirus for other situations, and now it's able to be used or leveraged even more to help with that distance learning. So that's fantastic.
And that was part of the beauty, to be honest with you, because we didn't create it to be a pandemic product. And it's so funny right now, we're going out to these schools and we see so many knee-jerk reactions from schools because they have some extra funding right now and they're buying things that are very pandemic focused, right? And the cool thing about our product is, yes, it has its time and place during the pandemic. The microphone, no doubt, is helping wearing masks. The camera is no doubt helping with the virtual and distance learning that students are going through. But prior to the pandemic, it was equally as important. There's no product in the world that was more researched than audio in the classroom. I mean, the simple idea that if a student can hear better, they will learn better has been proven time after time. And the same thing with the camera. I mean, it was used for safety and security. It's being used for coaching and mentoring and the ability to grow in your profession. So we hope that during the pandemic, schools continue to buy, but long after the pandemic, they'll continue to use these products.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we've talked about curriculum and instruction and definitely the research based around student growth with the in-class audio and sound. A3 is a company, and you guys as well, really community, stakeholder, all-inclusive based, multiple people coming to the table. You mentioned security director just a minute ago on the cameras in the classroom from a security's perspective. How else are you involving the security directors in the school districts?
Yeah, we again, it all came about 12 years ago. If you rewind back the times, you had Sandy Hook and Columbine, and we were simply a microphone company. And we went to a lot of trade shows where people were actively searching for a way for teachers to discreetly alert the front office if there was an emergency. Well, if you go to these trade shows, you had people with key fobs and badges and cell phone apps, and there were all these things where they were asking a teacher to do another thing or carry another piece of technology on their person. And the districts we worked with came to us and they said, you guys already have a device that's hanging around every teacher's neck in our school. Why don't you build that technology right into your microphone? Well, at that time, we thought they were crazy. We were a microphone company. We didn't think we would ever go down the road of being a safety and security company, but we quickly realized that they were right and we were onto something and we really needed to create that. So when we did that, we found ourselves all too often in the office of the chiefs of police and the safety and security directors for districts. And we were talking about how the microphone really helps for instruction and how much students are really missing out on by not being able to hear. And at the same time, using that same technology and tool to be able to safely send discrete emergency situations to the front office in the event of a teacher having an everyday issue like a seizure or a medical emergency or a fight or a custody battle. But the basic day-to-day things that our teachers face, they now had a tool or the ability to send for help. Well, that spiraled into the camera, and the camera just became another layer of that safe system in a school so that you could see and hear all events as it was taking place.
Unbelievable. So, all right, so we've got curriculum instruction, we've got an IT component, we've got security. How about on the facility side? I mean, you talk about sound and speakers. I know our facility directors are constantly handling and dealing with intercom or mass communication issues. You got anything around that?
Yeah, and it's again an interesting story, but we've continued to evolve over time. We listen to customer demand, and we try to pivot as we can. And the funny story behind an intercom system was we were out doing all of these new construction installs with our audio system, and we would leave the room, and there was a second vendor coming behind us and installing an intercom speaker. And the districts we worked with were literally scratching their heads and kind of calling us out pretty hard, saying, I don't get why you guys can't work together, right? And they weren't even saying, go make an intercom system. They were just really at that time asking us to partner with an intercom company, figure out how to get the sound to come out of the same set of speakers. And we finally realized in so many ways that was impossible because you had to override the local audio to get the intercom to come through. And there were so many issues behind that. So we finally said, you know what? We've heard it enough. We're just going to build an intercom system. And again, 12 years ago, when this all took place, it was right around the same time that voice over IP was becoming prevalent in the marketplace. So we built that technology directly into our amplifier, and therefore we're able to call into our classrooms and treat our amplifier as if it was an intercom system. And again, because of voice over IP technology, we could set priorities as to what call was more important at any given time. So at this point in our life, we are able to not only provide multimedia audio if a teacher's playing a YouTube video, we provide teacher audio by wearing the microphone, and we provide intercom, mass communications throughout an entire district through that same set of speakers. And the brilliance again behind it is that when you go to these districts, they don't have 18 pots of money that they're just waiting to spend, right? This was giving them the ability to put in an audio system, impact learning, put in an intercom system, impact safety and security, and do it all with the same product. And that's what a lot of districts have latched onto and really moved forward with us on. Yeah,
it's an amazing product. I'm definitely biased with you guys on that. I've seen it work. It's phenomenal. As a former security director, I know that every dollar I would spend, I'd had to try to figure out other uses for that same system. How could it touch this component, touch that component? And you hit facility needs, you hit security needs, you hit curriculum instruction needs, you hit teacher needs, you hit student needs. It's just that entire community of stakeholders really can be vested in you guys. And the other great thing about you is you only sell and are involved in one market, and that's education, and it's been strictly catered to that, which is amazing. Hey, Kevin, how can we find out more information about audio enhancement? How can we contact you?
So go to our website, call me, email me. My email address is just my first and last name at audioenhancement.com. So again, kevin.mitchell@audioenhancement.com. And my cell phone number is 561-306-3327. I know this video will go out to a lot of people. Seriously, you're welcome to call me. That's my cell phone, and I keep it on me all the time.
Hey, brother, I appreciate your time today, man.
Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks for joining us for this week's episode of Safe and Secure. For show notes, visit a3communications.com. Thank you again for watching, and don't forget to stay safe and secure. We'll see you next time.